it's Jen with AstroT Astrology. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the themes for the week and our forecast for this week of October 29th through November 4th. I cannot believe it is already going to be November this week. It is just crazy how fast time is flying. We just had a almost 80-degree day yesterday here in New England, which is unheard of this late in the year, and then today it's freezing. So, that's New England weather for you, but I think yesterday was the last hurrah here, and it was funny, the big culmination, that full moon in Taurus and that partial lunar eclipse. And I know we tried to go out to some places and everybody was outside, so it was kind of the culmination. It was like that, that last hurrah before everyone has to hunker down and get ready for the colder weather. It was insane how many people were out yesterday. It was really nice to see people outside and not just sitting inside, and everyone was out having fun. We had gone to a couple breweries, went to an apple orchard for apple picking, and a lot of people just out enjoying the nice weather for the end. So culmination there kind of goes along with that that full moon in Taurus. This is being outside. Full moons, and Taurus is about the earth. It's about, you think of, Taurus the bull, he's outside, he's appreciating the beauty and, all of the natural beauty of the earth around him. So very fitting for yesterday to be such a nice day. So as we start off today, we are coming off that full moon, partial lunar eclipse yesterday, with a Mars and Mercury conjunction in Scorpio. And that is becoming exact, and we had talked about that a little bit on the full moon in Taurus episode that we did the other day. So definitely check that to get a little bit more in depth about that, because we had the conjunction here with the sun in there. We have the opposition with Jupiter and Uranus down here, and then of course the moon was down there. Moon's kind of moving on a little bit now, but so this is a great for kind of that back and back, kind of like a friendly debate, for making quick decisions. So what have we been working on that we're kind of at that point, at that culmination, with that full moon, that now we're in the waning part. So now what kind of information, what have we learned from that we're going to use to move forward with whatever project we are working on, or whatever we're trying to accomplish. Easy to get your point across to another person, because you're going to be verbally at your peak, I guess you could say. So, if you're trying to explain something, things should flow a little smoothly, unless, in your own chart you have, a square to something thrown in there, or maybe a square to Neptune that's kind of making things a little bit foggy, maybe not making things come out. But again, this is what's happening kind of on a mundane level. So, again, of course, you're going to want to just check your own chart to see how all these planets are aspecting all of the planets in your own chart. So this also, because we always have Mars in there, so that can cause arguments. So make sure when you're trying to get your point across, you're not being a little too aggressive about it, and that you're being nice and you're hearing what the other one is saying, instead of just, talking one way and not receiving. So you want the conversation to go back and forth. It also is a great aspect if you, again, are having debate, or because you're coming up with easy rebuttals to what people say. So if someone's saying, oh, I don't like the idea because of this, well, you can say, well, listen to this. So to try and explain yourself and come back with a response, a quick response to what somebody has that might be somewhat negative, it's a good day for that. It's a good day to have those conversations. It can also be about receiving messages. So you want to make sure you want to have an open mind to receive those messages that might be coming in, those kind of light bulb moments that you might have, and be like, oh, okay, that's a thought, and now how do I proceed with this? Like, what have you been working on? And it's just like, okay, so come to the culmination. I have all the stuff that I need, but then what? And then, that's what I got to do. I got it. So you're going to kind of feel maybe, with whatever this is in your life, it could be in any aspect. Especially you want to check out, where it falls in your chart, for instance. So if you have Aries rising like this chart here, it's going to fall in your 8th house. If you have, say, Leo rising, it's going to be the 8th house from Leo. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's going to be in Pisces. So, maybe you're working on your emotions. Maybe you're working on kicking a certain habit, a bad habit, something maybe, a drug or alcohol. Pisces can have a little bit of that. Or, maybe helping people. Like, what if you, all right, I had this idea, I want to do these things, and how do I proceed with it? Well, this is going to be your light bulb moment, for instance. So, so that's that, so you just, you see any chart and it's 8 away from your rising sign. So mine is Capricorn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be happening in my house of Leo. That's going to be in my 8th house. So, what kind of themes is that going to be? I have Venus in there. So, how's that going to affect? Is it going to be something to do with taxes, something to do with, mine and my husband's money? Maybe some kind of a cult thing I'm working on, maybe some kind of a sexual thing. Who knows, it might be interesting. Let's find out anyway. So with that Mars in there. Anyway, next, we have a few days to work on that till our next kind of major aspect that's going to be going on, which is going to be on the 31st. But first, happy Halloween. The 31st is Halloween here in the United States. And a fun aspect that's happening that day is Venus in Virgo trine to Uranus in Taurus. So this is, I think, super fun for Halloween night. It's kind of like those fun surprises, fun scares, maybe, going to a haunted house, somebody jumping out, maybe little spooky things for the little kitties. That are going out and getting all dressed up. We have the Venus in Virgo. So, I know around here, like I said, it's going to be really cold on Halloween night after coming off this other day that it was almost 80. So, that Virgo, it's going to keep us practical. So how are we going to look super cute in our costumes, but still be warm enough to, tolerate whatever weather it's going to bring? So I think it's going to be a cute aspect for little spooks and scares and things like that for our little kids. Can also represent on a non, trick-or-treating type level, good changes or surprises that are for the best. I know maybe a surprise that I might get. I sent my husband out for candy like I do every year. So it's like, we don't have any candy to give the trick-or-treaters, which we never get because we live kind of out in the middle of nowhere. About 4 people on our whole entire street, and we've never had a trick-or-treater since we've lived here. So maybe that will be our little pleasant surprise. Get some little spooky little kids in their little costumes come into the house. I would love it. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I just have always loved it. Been torturing my husband with constantly putting on horror movies. Last night was one of my favorites, Friday the 13th, Part 4, random, I know. So, he's going to be happy to have this over anyway. So, other things that this might, this Venus in Virgo trine to Uranus in Taurus, can have to do with love, partnerships, money, all those kind of Venus-y themes. So, so what kind of light bulb moment in that aspect has kind of, with that Mars and Mercury aspect up here, what has that kind of, that light bulb brought up that we can then move forward using this nice conjunction, like, ooh, big change, a quick change, with that Uranus in there. Was there a discussion or idea you had in the beginning of the week? Are you beginning to see anything positive coming from it? Maybe there'll be that kind of bump that's like, okay, nothing was happening, and now, okay, now we're seeing some change here with that Uranus in there. So that Mars and Mercury, it was in Scorpio, don't forget. So you may have really like invested a lot of energy, a lot of emotion maybe into whatever this that you were kind of, wanting to work on. Scorpios, they have a lot of passion, enthusiasm. So if it was something that, say for instance, what have you been working on? Well, okay, I've been trying to take up astrology. Say you're trying to do astrology. It's a good example. Astrology could take you down a wormhole with just catacombs everywhere, because there's so many different aspects. There's, Vedic astrology, there's Western astrology, there's tropical, sidereal, there's medical astrology, there's astrocartography, where am I going to live? There's all sorts of different aspects that you can go into. So, there's going to be a lot. So there's a lot that you can really dig into, and maybe kind of find like, what is it that I want? Maybe that light bulb moment, maybe that, you've got that good footing with that, Uranus and Taurus for a change. Okay, so I have all these ideas. Now, how am I going to put them into fruition? All right, here we go. Here's what I'm going to work on. Uranus and Taurus gives you that stick-to-itiveness, that when you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling like, oh, this is a lot to handle, it gives you that stick-to-itiveness to just, okay, so just keep plugging forward, just like that bowl, just chug right along. It also, with the Venus and Virgo, helps us get rid of what is unnecessary. So again, this is why I use astrology as an example, all those different factors. Okay, so I kind of am going to focus on, we'll say Western astrology, and I'm going, gives you maybe the house system you want to use. I use a whole house, or whatever. It kind of will, all right, I'm going to get rid of this, so I'm not, dealing with all that. I'm going to focus on medical. So here we go. And so it kind of fine tunes a little bit. So it's a little less enormous. It's a little less, like, oh, I'm going to give up on this. Here's how we're going to stick to it. We're going to, focus. Also is good to not be judgmental. It's going to help, with that, seeing the good instead of seeing the judgment. So if you think about, how can you bring this into a relationship? If it's something, Venus is all about relationships. What kind of little surprises could you, bring home to the person that you love? Maybe bring in flowers home, or maybe, oh, we're going to do a surprise dinner out instead of just, hanging at home for the week. Maybe after work, you're usually tired, but, oh, let's go out. Let's have a couple drinks out. Something just nice, something, nothing crazy and over the top. Taurus is keeping that Uranus under control a little bit, so it's just going to be a nice little surprise. Could be something even, so say like, okay, I have long dark hair and I'm going to go and get it cut short into a bob and I'm going to bleach it blonde. Something that isn't, it's like a sudden change, but it's not like a Plutonian transformation that is going to, like, I'll never grow my hair back again. Just something that you might want to try. Maybe wear something that you wouldn't normally wear, just to feel kind of fun. So just kind of that. It is Halloween night, so dress it up, look cute. Put a wig on, and it's very good Halloweeny type theme anyway. So next, on the 3rd of November, we have the Sun in Scorpio in opposition to this Jupiter down in Taurus. So have you been kind of wrestling with somewhere you've always wanted to go? Maybe travel. Jupiter's about travel. Kind of, get that footing. You maybe make those plans. What have you kind of wanted to do? Do I want to go someplace? What other kind of Jupiterian themes? Something you've wanted to learn more about, maybe a religion or a spiritual practice you've wanted to explore a little bit. Now is the time to really dive in. I know it might be something you're wrestling with because of this opposition, but it's like, okay, like I want to figure things out. So this is coming off of this, light bulb moments, nice sudden changes, and now we have this. So what have we kind of learned and worked with that's going to kind of, make us want to try something new, and figure out, it's like, okay, I've been wrestling with this, now we want to move forward. Plan that trip, buy those books, figure out what you want to do. Like, again, if it's, planning a trip, wasn't sure where I wanted to go, but I want to go here, so let's plan it. Are we going to drive? Are we going to fly? Blah, blah, blah. If it's astrology, I went out and I bought all the medical astrology books I can find, so I'm really going to get down and I'm going to know everything about medical astrology, let's say, if that's what it is. Try out that new religion. So like, okay, so I've been talking about this for a long time, that's it, I'm doing it, I'm going into that synagogue, I usually go to church, or I'm going into that yoga class, or whatever it might be that you, take in and drink up, open your mind up to all those new experiences, drink them in, and really just, because we also, on this day, we have Venus in an opposition to Neptune. So, we have the sky's the limit. We see beauty where, normal people may not. It's like, okay, so this, seeing beauty in something that we never noticed before. So new and fun things are popping up that are of interest, if it is that, like, oh, okay, we wanted to go on a trip, and I never thought of going here before, but let's do it, it's something, kind of different, something I never really thought of before. It's that Neptune and Pisces kind of, helps us to make sure we're smart and not irrational or rash about something. If traveling, say, you do want to be a little bit smart with that Venus in Virgo, so if you're traveling, wanting to travel to another country, with all that's going on in the world today, what's in your head, you want to make sure you do it safely. You want to make sure, because there's a lot of dangerous places going on in the world right now with all these wars here and there, and so you want to stay away from what's dangerous, and you want to go, somewhere where you're going to be safe. So you want to, these changes, you don't want to, go into a war-torn country and say, oh, I'm going to save the world. It might not be the best time for that. So make sure these ideas are on the up and up. If it is a religion, make sure it's not like a cult. Venus in that aspect to Neptune can have us seeing what we want to see. Oh, I want to do this. I want to help. I'm going to fly to, Israel right now. I'm going to fly to Ukraine. It might not be the best idea, or if you are joining a different kind of religion, this guy is amazing, and just make sure it's not like a David Koresh type thing or a Jim Jones, that you're getting into some kind of craziness because you're seeing things that you want to see instead of kind of being practical and, thinking things through. Got to watch that Neptune in there. But it can really help, that with that Venus and Virgo can help us sort out what is reality from what is that pipe dream, and what is good from what can be potentially dangerous. So then finally on the 4th, we have Saturn stationing direct. So that means all of our personal and social planets are all now moving forward. So we have, after this full moon, I think that just the way that you look at all these aspects coming, it's just like you can see how they're all just, all right, so now everything's moving forward. Saturn, is about really kind of, reaping what you sowed. It's about, I worked really hard. Think of having, when you have your Saturn return, it's about getting what you put the work in. So if you put a lot of work in, it's going to benefit you. And if you didn't, then, it might not be so great. So, what have you been really working on with this, just this all week feel, this everything, and this goes back to, we can even say the new moon cycle back in May within Taurus. So something that maybe even started way back then that's going to take us to the next new moon in Taurus cycle in next spring. So ideas, realizations, put into action, removing reality from fantasy. Saturn benefiting us from all the hard work we've put in. This week, it comes right after, again, that full moon and eclipse in Taurus. So we begin that waning phase. We reap the benefits of the hard work that full moon could give. We teach others. We can, be mentors to somebody else. After all that waxing buildup, you know, now we can use it. Now we can use it to our advantage. So keep an open mind and welcome these ideas. So that is about all we have today. I think it's going to be a great week. I hope if you have kids, if you don't have kids, going to Halloween parties, whatever, I hope you have a great time and you have a lot of fun and happy surprises. And so remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for upcoming videos. And if you haven't, definitely if you're into sports and like these kind of happy surprises, check out my sports horror that I just put out. Teaches you a little bit about horror. So if you're looking into getting, it is astrology and it isn't medical like I said, and you're looking into a horror can be a lot of fun. Really been getting into trying to predict different sporting events. So definitely hit the notification bell so we can stick together and go through these new videos together and grow together. Hit the subscribe, and I hope you all have a great week. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.